So, Hare Krishna, we're very, very fortunate to have our senior god sister with us, Her Grace Kaivalya Sundari Mataji. So, on behalf of Jayapataka Iskcon Seshadripuram, we welcome you, Mataji, and very kind of you in spite of your hectic schedule. I know you're traveling back because Guru Maharaj is going back to US is what we also happen to understand. So Mataji is actually now from New Taliban, but currently she is in Sridham, Mayapur. Haribol. And she is, I had sent out a small note for you all, for sure you all have gone through it, but let's discuss it because that glorifies Gurudev as well as her. So Mataji is been practicing Krishna consciousness like from 1983. Wow, that's like almost the years I've been on this planet. And she's like, she's been practicing from then on, and she's currently, she dresses Gauritai, dresses Shri Radha Kanta since 1984. She's the head gimmick maker for New Taliban. Wonderful Krishna conscious family, has two wonderful kids. One of them, both of them married. Devashani Radhika Mataji is once again our god sister, and Achintya Swarup Prabhu is our god cousin, Niranjan Maharaj's disciple. So, and she's very personal. In my little interaction, I've seen Mataji earlier, but in my little interaction from yesterday, I see how specific she is to make things, have everyone have good experience so that they can take up Krishna consciousness very nicely. So we are very, very happy that Mataji is with us today. So over to you, Mataji, however you would like to take, if you can start up with a kirtan or however, and if possible, please keep a little bit of time for question and answers towards the end.
Yes.
That will be very interesting. People will just start trickling in.
I'll just do kirtan for like 3 minutes and then we can start.
Fair enough. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Namah Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Nityanamine Namah Jayapataya Nityanamine Should I, since everyone is muted, maybe they can sing along as I'm singing. So I can't hear you anyway, and so let's all sing together, okay? Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vasyachadeshatarine Jaya Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrita Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, am I supposed to start now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll start from the beginning. I just wanted to share just a few little things before, so you can sort of understand my upbringing a little bit. My father is Bengali from Malaysia, but he came to the West when he was 17. So he didn't have a lot of experience with Vedic culture and all these things. And he went straight away into college and, you know, all that. And I never learned Bengali. But we went to Malaysia a few times when I got to be with my grandma, my Takuma, my Dadu, my relatives. They were all in Malaysia. So when I was in 8th grade in America, I did a report on India because I'm half Indian. So we were supposed to, everyone in America, you see, it's a funny thing because in India, if you said go home and do a report on your heritage, everyone will come back saying about the same thing. But in the United States of America, we have many, many cultures from many, many places in the world. So it's very interesting on these days in school when you're learning, everyone comes from a different place. So please tell about your place. So this is how we learn about other cultures. So I was doing India. I brought payesh, my mom made, and I dressed in a sari. I called a Bengali lady friend of our family. Please tell us, can you give me some information on India? Like what's their contributions into American society? We were thinking like India, like clothing, incense, you know, spices. We couldn't think of very much, right? And food, of course. And then she said, and then there's the Hare Krishnas. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is. But I put it in my report. When I'm giving my report in 8th grade, I said, oh yeah, and then the Hare Krishnas. I didn't know what that was anyway. So I said Hare Krishna at that time. In 9th grade when I was in, it was so fun because in 9th grade, we had like a amma, like a servant in Malaysia, and she was Tamil. So she would come with all of her songs. And at that time, the movie Bobby was so popular and she was playing the music and it was like, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And we're running around the house singing Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And I'm like ecstatic. I don't know why, but I find out later that movie was very bad, very like critical of the devotees, you know, made them look like fools. So, you know, I was just a kid then. I was just like 14, you know, something like that. So then in 10th grade, I'm back in the US. And one day my dad goes to meetings and one day he brought home Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, condensed version. I'm in 10th grade and I don't know anything about God or anything. I wasn't raised with it. So we were just a good family, but my mom was from a Christian background, my dad from a Hindu background. So they didn't really press any religion on us. So, but that day, he brought home Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, as it is. And he said, don't put this on the floor. Don't put this on the floor, meaning this book. I mean, what am I going to say? I think, okay, this book must be great. If you don't put this book on the floor, this book must be exalted. So then that was the beginning. I mean, all these things led up. And in college, I met the devotees. So I'll just tell you, I was in college and and for one summer break, I went to the Detroit temple. And by then I was already ready. I was living in college, living in a preaching center of the devotees. It was close to campus, it was cheap rent, and it was free prasadam. So I was like so fortunate and I was becoming a devotee. And I took that summer off and thought, I told my parents, I'm going to do like a research project and stay at the Hare Krishna temple in Detroit. So I actually was becoming more and more a devotee or learning about it, but I needed a spiritual master. So I started, they had spiritual masters there in the zone. Okay, we all know in our heart that we must choose which guru we feel that this guru is speaking to me. This is a very personal decision. Yet in the early 80s, they had developed a system in Iskcon, which was the guru, the zonal acharya system, meaning they divided the whole planet and they said, oh, you're here? Oh, you must take from Bhavananda and Rameshwar. And I did not have any taste for either of those two. And I was in a predicament. I didn't want to be offensive. So I asked the temple commander, please let me hear many tapes. Back then, I lived in the olden days, we had cassette, you know, it's like the little tapes that go inside this little thing, you slip it in, you play music or listen to classes. So I heard different devotees that were gurus at the time, accepting disciples. And this was 1982, like that. And so 1982, 80, yeah, something like that. So then I was just like, okay, next. Then I heard Guru Maharaj. He was so enthusiastic and he was telling the pastimes of the Holy Dham. He told the beautiful story of how the Iskcon was getting the Jagannath Baladev, the temple, the Jagannath temple in Rajpur. Iskcon was getting that. But the Pujari started worshiping those deities before it was really time. So he started, then he stopped because they got a notice that not to start. So then he stopped giving them food. And then Boga, and then the Pujari had a dream, you know that story where Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra are walking across the field. And Guru Maharaj was telling us so amazing. Like, hey, we're going to eat with Radha Madhava. Why didn't feed us for 3 days? And I was just like, you know, it was funny, it was engaging. I just felt like my whole world was, this was it. This was my guru. I felt that. I didn't know who was Jayapataka Swami. I didn't know. I didn't ever hear of him before. And well, that's reasonable because he was only in India those days. So I kept wanting that. And somehow or other, Krishna fulfilled my desire because he sent a few different people that were his disciples. And then lo and behold, I found out he was coming to Detroit, where I was serving. And then we were having a big grand opening for the Detroit temple, grand opening of Fate Museum. Like we made jewelry and we had like deities, and then it would come the dioramas of the changing bodies. We made jewelry, we made everything. And Guru Maharaj came for that opening. I couldn't believe my good fortune because he was like, who knows that? Who's that person? Nobody knows. Only I know. I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like Krishna arranged this whole thing. So, what's my point? So I got to, oh yeah, so I met his servant and I said, could I have a darshan with Guru Maharaj? And the servant, he was very kind and he gave me a photo of Guru Maharaj, like, you know, like a regular photo. And it was my first photo of him. And this servant, you know who it was? His name was Jagadish. And guess who that is? Bhakti Purushottam Swami. That was when, in the early days, when he was a brahmachari serving Guru Maharaj. So anyway, I got darshan. I got to make garland. I got to make the cookies for giving at Guru Puja time. So I got special mercy and I got the darshan, and he listened to me. I listened to him, and he accepted me like a disciple. And he said, when we go to the Panihati festival in Atlanta, the first one we're going to do, 1983. This was maybe a few months in advance. Then you can go there and I'll initiate you. So I decided by then to move down to Louisiana, New Orleans, because remember I said about the zonal acharyas? Just so happens Guru Maharaj had his zone in the south, Atlanta, Marari, Sebak, a farm, New Taliban, and New Orleans. So he was GBC there, and he had a few disciples there. So I went down there to New Orleans, and like I would have come from up north. I'm going down to there, and like I'm leaving my whole family and everything. I'm like what, 21, 22 years old. I went down to serve in New Orleans. A few months later, I came home, and I was a bit like trying to tell my family, look, I might be staying down south. I might be staying in New Orleans, or I might stay here. I don't know. And I was a little bit torn because I was making a final decision. What am I going to do? And then I found out Guru Maharaj is in this one place at one temple for some meetings. So I called that number, and they said, Guru Maharaj is in a meeting. Can I give him a message? And I said, yes, please. Can you please tell me, this is Kaivalya Sundari Devidasi, should I stay in, actually, was I initiated already? I don't think I was initiated yet, but should I stay in Detroit or New Orleans? And he said, I got the message back, and they said, yes, he said that you should go to New Orleans. So it was like the anxiety in my heart went away. I had no more anxiety because I wasn't anxiety, like, oh, what to say, what to do. And then when I hear the final decision, that's it, I'm going. No worries. So in New Orleans, I was there for a few years. Let's see. I did get initiated at the very first Panihati festival. It was like the best day of my life. Of course, I don't remember details because that was like, I don't know, like next year it'll be 40 years. So 40 years ago, I have not such crisp memories. I hate to say this, and I wish I could remember every single thing that's ever happened with Guru Maharaj, because I would be just ecstatic all the time, sharing every time, writing a book. But I know I don't remember so much, but I'm trying to remember the things now. Okay, so Atlanta, right now it's a pretty big festival, but then it was the very first festival, and they had like a madras, like for festivals, or they have, like the kind of material they put on the elephants for Panihati, for the elephant procession in Mayapur. They have these beautiful embroidery and like applique elephants and everything, just Indian style. So we had Indian style cloth on the ground, and everyone sat down, just informal. Maybe a few of us, and that was my initiation day. Maybe there was 50 people at the festival, very few, 50 to 70 people. Anyway, so then I was back in New Orleans. Mother Lori used to come visit her son and stay with us, and that's Maharaj's mother. So I developed a good relationship with her in New Orleans. She was very kind. And one time, so I started doing Sankirtan. Like, before I go any further, I wanted to speak today about the moods of Guru Maharaj. And before I go into like, you know, running off on a tangent, I did want to do this in a bit of an order according to the moods that we have. So the first mood is he's very merciful. As we all know, he has about 60,000 disciples. And he's very, very kind and very, very merciful. And he's trying to bring more and more souls to Krishna. This is one of his instructions from Srila Prabhupada. So he's very merciful. He's very compassionate. And he's always in the mood of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda, like sometimes I hear devotees asking a question like, oh, this devotee is so mean, he hurt me, he said bad things, or he treated me badly, what should I do? And maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago or something, I heard Guru Maharaj say in a class, well, think about Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was hit with a glass, a broken bottle starts bleeding, and Lord Chaitanya is about to chop the guy's head off, and Lord Nityananda was like, no, stop. You know, this is the Sankirtan mission now. We have to help their souls. We have to make them devotees. So this is Guru Maharaj's mood, and he will say, did someone throw a piece of glass at you and you're bleeding and, you know, like, is it really that bad? Because the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who normally would cut someone's head off, actually stopped and saved him, gave him initiation, the biggest sinner in the world. So we have to put into perspectives our problems when the Lord is showing that the worst people on the planet, the most sinful, just tried to, you know, injure Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda says, no, let's accept them as disciples, you know? And so how merciful is that? That is the kind of mercy, that is the kind of person that Guru Maharaj is. I don't have to convince all of you because all of you know. And a lot also, he's very compassionate, like I said, in the mood of Lord Nityananda. And here's a case in point. Remember how Guru Maharaj would travel around the whole world and everyone did, okay, before the stroke, before things got super, even before the stroke, he was on a special diet. We were supposed to only give Guru Maharaj healthy types of food. He could have limited oils, limited salt, and limited sweets. So when he would go to temples for decades, we all know Guru Maharaj maybe has some health issue, but people want to cook opulent paneer and sweets and oily and so many things maybe Guru Maharaj shouldn't eat, but because he wants to be merciful to that Vaishnavi or Vaishnava that cooks this, he will honor. So yes, maybe he wasn't eating in the most healthy way, but I don't think it was for his own sense gratification. That was for fulfilling and satisfying the desires of his disciples to serve him and allowing them to serve him and giving them that special compassion and mercy. Also, not only just in the eating, it would also be that Guru Maharaj was getting very little sleep. And I had also done some research that I find out that if you get a good night's sleep, actually, you can prevent many diseases, many health problems. One of the cures for some health problems is getting an 8-hour sleep every night or getting enough sleep. Well, Guru Maharaj, he puts himself last. His mood is, let me serve. Let me serve this person. Let me help this person come to Krishna. Let me help this person come to Srila Prabhupada. So many times when he was traveling, of course, the jet lag, then they're expecting a class as soon as he arrives. And then, of course, he was getting more and more tired, you know, like this tiredness that is complete, like wearing down your body. But out of the mercy and compassion he had for his disciples, he would stay up late. And then on top of that, expect to get up early to do the class and Guru Puja, whatever. So that's another thing, the compassion. One pastime was, I was in Atlanta cutting up fruit for the Panihati festival. Panihati festival, we would make the big pots of, and this was Guru Maharaja's idea, to make the pots of kheer, yogurt, and sweet yogurt and kheer, and make all kinds of different delicious types of offerings with each one had a certain name and a certain flavor, a sweet or salty, many different varieties. So I was putting up for the festival some in the area by the pujaari room, some strawberries for the decorating. And I was doing my service, and then I didn't realize, but the pujaari brought the Mahaprasad plates off the altar, set them next to me, and I'm still cutting up here. Then Guru Maharaj walks in and said, "Hey, don't you know you shouldn't be cutting boga right next to prasad? This can become prasad. Now if this boga could become prasadam, you cannot do that." So actually, I didn't know that, but I'm so happy that he was compassionate and took mercy on me by telling me, informing me. You know, like when a parent, you know, is trying to correct the child. No, you don't touch that fire. Don't you know you could get burned? These types of things. Guru Maharaj is like a parent. He's like a parent teaching his children. That's another thing, is he never had children in the real world because he's a sannyasi, but he has thousands of children, thousands upon thousands of children, and he does treat us like children because we have our tender bhakti creepers that are trying to grow. And somehow or other, he was advanced at a very young age, because when I took initiation, he was only 34 years old. 34. That's the age of some, you know, young people. But he was here making promises, you know, okay, I promise this disciple will go back to Godhead, whatever, you know, spiritual master does. He was doing it at a young age. So Guru Maharaj is beyond these physical. He's beyond the physical, just like he is now. Back then, his physical thing might have been he was a young person. Now he's older with health issues, but he's unstoppable. Guru Maharaj is unstoppable, and he's never had material ailments in the way that we have, because he's very transcendental. So another thing is that he's heavy on himself and soft with others. He has the utmost respect for his god brothers. Like sometimes you hear that some god brothers are critical of Guru Maharaj or critical of Iskcon or of the Gurus or of GBC, whatever. But even though they may say terrible things about Guru Maharaj or whatever, Guru Maharaj always greets them with an embrace. He embraces them. This is I have seen this. Maybe not so much in the wheelchair now in his condition, but before he was always hugging his god brothers, very, very close and loving to them. So he has respect for his god brothers. And I have another pastime to tell you about that. So it was, I don't know, say maybe 12, 13, 15 years ago, and Guru Maharaj was giving the Gur Praneem class. But it wasn't just him. It was two other god brothers right next to each other. Two god brothers. But he had a garland already, a nice garland. And it was just about time for class. And the other two gurus and sannyasis, they didn't have garland. And then all of a sudden, our god brother, the young boy, runs up enthusiastically, puts another garland on Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj immediately, what he did, slap. He slapped this boy. This is not to be done. This is an embarrassment to me, and you have offended, like he takes it seriously. He takes this this etiquette, devotee etiquette seriously. So he does not, like, he gives the example about how his god brothers, the Prabhupada's disciples, sometime would try to say to Prabhupada, oh, your other god brother, he's a rascal, or this or that, and Prabhupada would be very angry. He would say, you do not criticize my god brothers. That's not your place. Also, in the same way, how he has so much respect for his god brothers, another point is that during Vyasa Puja times, many times, we want to glorify Guru Maharaj as if he is the best, or he's the best, and I know it because of this, that, and that, and nobody else does this, or whatever. Guru Maharaj will stop you right there. If it's personal, he will stop you. If then he gets a chance to speak, then he'll say, I do not want to hear that I am the best, that I am so great, or any of these things, because I feel like all of my god brothers are equally as great or as good. And I'm just humble and I'm trying to serve them. So this is Guru Maharaj's mood, very humble. He's very humble person, humble. He's a humble devotee. On safari, he used to, this is the safari, this is like a trip that we would all take, the disciples with Guru Maharaj and some of his god brothers. We would go to different places and we would see different holy places where Lord Chaitanya went to. So on this time, Guru Maharaj was very strict about how we dressed, how we acted, because we are representing Srila Prabhupada. One of the moods of Guru Maharaj is that Guru Maharaj is a Prabhupada man. If you want to offer Guru Maharaj something, he'll say, did you offer it to Srila Prabhupada first? That's been the whole thing, whether it's a garland, whether it's boga that you want to offer Guru Maharaj, he wants it to be offered to Srila Prabhupada before he takes it. Similarly, when Guru Maharaj once said that when he's offered praise, like the Vyasa Puja time, it's very uncomfortable. But what he does is in his mind, he's offering that praise to Srila Prabhupada. So he's not accepting it and feeling like, oh, yeah, I'm so great, anything. He's never been like that. He only wants to give that to the person that empowered him, Srila Prabhupada. So that's his mood. And when he gives initiation, I remember in my initiation, and even to the most recent, he will ask, will you help me serve Srila Prabhupada in his mission? Will you help me serve Srila Prabhupada? So that's the vows we are taking, to serve Srila Prabhupada. And that's what's going to unite Iskcon. Srila Prabhupada is what unites Iskcon. We can't just be I'm this Guru Maharaj, this is my Guru Maharaj, that is my Guru Maharaj. We have different ideas, so we don't get along. No, we all should be following Prabhupada's example. If you ask Guru Maharaj a question, he will first say, I wonder, let's see what Prabhupada said about that. And then he will try to remember experience of what Prabhupada said or do some research on that. But otherwise, he doesn't like to give examples or give knowledge if it's not coming from Srila Prabhupada in the scriptures. And like I said, we were on safari so many times, and Guru Maharaj was always worried, oh, do you have sunscreen? Are you getting burned? Do you have mosquito repellent? Does everyone have water? Is everyone okay? How's everyone's health? And then he had a doctor traveling with us that had medicine. So whoever was sick, that was his first priority, to take care of those people. Guru Maharaj cares for his disciples. He's a very caring person, and you know, like one of my friends, who's his god sister, once told me that she was so touched because he always asked her, "What can I do for you? How can I serve you?" So it was just a rare thing to hear that from, let's say, a brahmachari or a sannyasi to a Mataji. That just didn't usually happen. So she really appreciated that. Another pastime is one time I was in New Orleans and we were collecting, Latika Bhakti and I were doing Lakshmi collections out on the street. And I used to do pretty well, but this one time period, I was not doing well. I was not getting the Lakshmi that normally I would get. So then when Guru Maharaj came to New Orleans, and I approached him and I said, Guru Maharaj, I have to ask you, I'm having a hard time on Sankirtan. I feel like I'm surrendering, but I'm not getting any results. And Guru Maharaj says, you know, he tips his head thoughtfully, and then he looks at me and he says, well, we should not think that we're surrendering. We should not think that we are surrendered or that we are surrendering, because I think a surrendered person actually never thinks that way. Surrendered person always is thinking, what more can I do? What more can I do? And he leaves the results to Krishna. He's not concerned about the results. I know, let's see, we have maybe about 10 more minutes, but I wanted to tell this one story about Guru Maharaj. This was before the stroke, maybe 1 or 2 years before, possibly the same year. But it was Vyasa Puja time, and people were, many people were in the Holy Dham, and on Vyasa Puja day, everything was in the Panchatattva side of the temple. And you can imagine that when it's time to offer flower petals or have some interaction with Guru Maharaj, it was time for Pushpanjali. And people are just like, you know, pushing, shoving. It's like a sea with whirlpools and a water going every way. I mean, that's how I felt. And I was with my daughter and we got separated. And then Guru Maharaj saw us struggling and he motioned, please come. And he's up on a platform and not too many people were going up there, but he said, please come. And somehow or other, by his desire for us to go there, we somehow got to the platform to go up there to see Guru Maharaj, and both Devesha and I, his disciples, we got to give him our letters and give him the karams that we offer. He put his foot there, and then we got to talk a few minutes. And I just, now, you know, and then I had some feelings like, wow, it's so hard to worship Guru Maharaj in this situation. We need more security. We need a better, you know, an orderly fashion, then it would be so much easier. And now they have it great because they have it all outside and there's so much room for everybody. So it has improved since then. But the next day, at Guru Puja, we used to go offer flowers, and then Guru Maharaj would give like a samosa or something, or some other devotees would hand that out to make it go quickly. So some people would give garlands also to Guru Maharaj. So then he saw me and he started talking to me, like, well, what's on your mind? And I said, well, he said, how are you? And I said, I'm really disappointed. I feel like, you know, there needs to be more order in the program. I felt just like it's almost violent to try to get to do a devotional thing. So I also one thing that was upsetting me was what that time he was coming back from safari. I didn't go, but I was there when he came back, and it was nighttime, and he had dark glasses, like sunglasses on at night. So I asked him at that time in the Guru Puja, I said, Guru Maharaj, why did you have sunglasses on? And he said, because they were throwing rice at me, rice, and hitting my face, going into my eyes. So I put sunglasses. I couldn't believe it. So I talked to Guru Maharaj and I said, look, these things have to change. I feel like they're almost attacking you. Sometimes I would witness people putting on garlands and not seeing. There's a Guru Maharaj standing there. There's a person standing there who deserves our respect, not to be like hammered with garlands and thrown rice in his eyes. And to worship him, you have to fight for your life. I had these complaints or these concerns, and Guru Maharaj was like, thank you very much. And I would like you to go to the JSSS meeting tomorrow or today, I think he was saying, and if you would please represent me or say these things. But it was all these, my age group, the time when I joined, or a little bit more or a little bit less of Prabhus. And I'm sorry to say, but they didn't even listen to me. They didn't even care about what I said. And as soon as I spoke, they said, like, next. They didn't even say, thank you, Mataji. You know, it's so important what you say or anything like that. So, you know, anyway, Krishna somehow worked it out that it's a lot better now. So that was one, I think that's about all I needed to say. And I feel like I'm just talking to a blank because I don't see any faces here. I've just seen names, and it's kind of strange for me to talk to myself.
So we have just, so that it does not distract you, many of us have just switched off our videos, but we are listening to you.
Yeah, so I'm just checking my notes to see if there was another point that I wanted to say. I think we could go into questions because I have had quite a bit of, you know, like I had Guru Maharaj used to come for New Orleans for Mardi Gras. He was very personal with us. And, you know, we have a lot of fond memories, but I can't, you know, say them all. I can't remember them all. But if anyone would like to ask questions, I will be so happy to answer any questions or anything like that.
Hare Krishna devotees, if you would like to just unmute yourself and just ask Mataji question, or you can put it on the chat and I could ask it for you. Either way is okay. So don't lose such an opportunity to ask Mataji. It's like she has so many years of association and Guru Maharaj. Questions? But by the time they put it up, maybe I can ask you.
I think it's nicer if I can see their face and actually I see Latika Bhakti, my dear God sister, and many of those experiences were along her side. We practically joined the same year. I joined 83. I think she joined 84, initiated. And she came to New Orleans and we did Sankirtan together and so many things. Latika, could you please add some nectar to this? Hey, you have to unmute yourself. It's down in the lower left of your screen. Press the screen and you'll see a mute button on the lower left of the screen.
She accidentally switched off the video.
Ask to unmute.
Now I'm on now.
Hey, yes.
Yes. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for unmuting yourself. Waiting to hear some nectar from you.
No, I wanted to ask you a question, Kaivalya. I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
You had so much association with Guru Maharaj, and we were so fortunate and so lucky. How, when did you feel the closest to Guru Maharaj? Like, when did you feel like the mercy from Guru Maharaj most prominent in your life?
I feel that the most mercy I got from Maharaj was when I had personal darshans, when I could look him directly in the eyes, he could look at me. And it was like, sometimes he could just say things, like I would have all these problems, I would want to be talking to Guru Maharaj, then I'd go in his room, finally after waiting to see him, I'm there, and he's like, how are you? And then I would say, fine, Guru Maharaj. And then all the things I wanted to say are just like completely irrelevant. Like, take one look at him and I'm like, wow. You know, I mean, you just want to jump into that mood and you just want to, you know, like he just brought a whole different feeling to me when I was there in person with him. That's why I'm always like, can I have personal darshan so much? No. You know, like now it's very unfortunate that we're not getting it. So we're gonna have to deal close. Like now, instead of a darshan, even if he just puts the Jagannath toothbrush on my head, I'm gonna have to consider that my darshan. So the mercy is there if you're so perceptive to take it, you know. And I also see the mercy as all of the things that happen to us in our lives, all of the good. That's also Guru Maharaj's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and he is taking care of us. Krishna is taking care of us. So in a roundabout way, you know, Guru Maharaj's mercy, you have to look for it in other ways. And right now I'm thinking the ways he's giving the mercy right now is the classes. He's giving so much association classes. He's looking at devotees who come on Zoom every day. Even if you don't see him, I see that he's watching. So I really feel that there's a chance to be getting the mercy. It's a different way, but he still has the same mercy and love and compassion for all of his disciples. What happened to your voice? Can't hear you.
I said maybe someone else has a question. There's so many devotees watching.
Okay. Anyone else have a question?
I see a question on the chat. There's a question from Sri Hari Sridhar Prabhu on the chat. Prabhu is saying, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Can you please tell any deity pastimes?
Deity pastimes with our deities? Well, with the Lord Nrsingadev deity, in Mayapur, I have one small pastime. But on one safari, I was, is your photo there, the person that asked the question?
Sri Hari Prabhu, can you open up your video and
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
I'm not like one of those people like Madhavendra Puri that's getting all these deity, deities are giving me sweet rice and things. It's not like that. But one time I can remember I was sick with the German measles after going on the 2006 safari. Somehow or other, people were spreading the measles. And I got that and I was sick and delirious. Latika was taking care of me, bringing me soup and everything. And I was like hysterical, delirious, like it was bad. And I couldn't hear. At one point when I was in my apartment in Mayapur for a few months, I was living there and I hear this one bird every morning and I'm like, ah! This bird says the same thing over and over and over again, and he won't stop. And then they were building the buildings nearby, Dayaram's building at the time, and all I heard was the concrete every day. So I was thinking, wow, it's hard to be transcendental with all these noises and all. But then I got the German measles, and I lost my hearing. Like I couldn't hear anything for like a month. And I was thinking, oh no, what have I done? Is it that I'm listening to the wrong things, listening to the music, or what is it that I'm trying to be told here that I can't hear? It is that I'm not taking advantage of the hearing, that I'm not listening to enough classes. What is it? So then one day, I was getting a little bit better, and I think it was Latika. You brought me, Pankajangri Prabhu gave me the whisker that had fallen off of Lord Nrsingadev. He's got the whiskers like cats, right? So one day this silver whisker came off, and he made it into a ring and gave it to me. So when you ask for a deity pastime, that's the only one I can think of right now.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisance.
I don't hear you. Are you speaking?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I said thank you very much.
Is your mic on?
Yes, Mataji.
Can you hear me? I think you will have to plug it in. We can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, there was some problem with this mic. How it's plugged in. Can you speak again so I know what you're talking?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet, please.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing the nectar. Yes. Can you share some kitchen pastimes with Guru Maharaj?
Kitchen. Well, I did tell the story. Were you there when I told the story about the boga and the prashadam? We shouldn't mix. We shouldn't have them nearby, yeah? You heard that? I know that in Panihati, Guru Maharaj in Atlanta, it's called New Panihati Dham. So in Atlanta, he thought, well, hey, it's New Panihati Dham. We should be doing the Panihati festival here in this temple, but we're not doing it. So just the same year I got initiated, in 1983, they had the very first one. And he is an expert. Like, he just knew what to do. All these recipes, somehow or other, he knows that. I think he had like, maybe he was looking at some papers for some general mixes. And then, so he was the coordinator and the actual backbone of that festival. So even in the pastimes, on that festival day, they have Rath Yatra on Saturday, and the next day is Prabhupada Leela. So many Prabhupada disciples would be there telling everything in their whole experience. And Guru Maharaj, he wouldn't be safe this pastime. Why? Because he was in the kitchen. And he was the one doing all the pots, and okay, we need more this, that. And he had his other deputies that were in charge of that. Mataji's got very good at knowing what to do and being kind of like delegating service to the other people. So Guru Maharaj was a very good cook. And I remember once on safari, we went to the home of Damayanti and Devidasi and her husband. You know, they were expert cooks, even at this place. Latika, do you remember who I mean? You have to unmute.
Yes, Mataji. Please come again. I'll mute you.
Yeah, it was a place where I know the Mataji's name was Damayanti, and there was her husband, and they would cook. They had the original Panihati there. It was in Panihati, the original place in India. They would cook just the most amazing preparations.
Yes, I know Panihati festival we do yearly once.
Yeah.
We go to nearby place and we do chida dahi.
Yeah. So Guru Maharaj would always tell the pastime with Raghunath, with Raghunath, and how he was wanting to get away from his family duties and only serve the Lord. And he said, no, your punishment is to provide the festival. So others, a lot of times would come to New Taliban or New Orleans, and I would get a chance to cook for him. And he liked it. You know, I would make pies, pizza. I made these special beans that were a little bit sweet with cane syrup or maple syrup in, and do them in a crock pot. And he loved, I got to cook for him sometimes, you know, on the side. Not like the main cook, but I would contribute, like make a pie. But then it got more difficult when they said, oh, you cannot use any oil or butter. So then we're like, what now? And then you have to use applesauce. And it's like, okay, but so somehow or other they're still doing things like that for Guru Maharaj. But obviously in the earlier days, we got away with a lot more, giving him so many opulent things. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Anadi Jagannath Prabhu.
Yes,
you have any questions?
Yes, I have. I was waiting for my turn. I'm very eagerly waiting. Like you see, this New Taliban is like so many sweet God sisters there. You're there, Haridwani Mataji is there. So all of you, and so any New Taliban pastime, please. And I know.
I know one thing. When Guru Maharaj would visit, this is really great. We used to have lots of children because we used to have a Gurukul. But when we closed down the Gurukul, many families left. So unfortunately, we've had this struggle with the same devotees like me are doing the same service. We don't have, not like in India where you have more and more devotees coming. We have no devotees there except for us. And what was, oh God. I know what I was going to say, but say your question again?
Any New Taliban pastime.
Yeah. So one time when Guru Maharaj would come, every time Guru Maharaj would come, two things would happen. One main thing would happen. We would make, if there's 50 people in Guru Puja, you would think, 50 cookies. But no, you must make 200 cookies. Why? Because at the end, it's time for playing ball. You get out there, you stay in the room. Yeah, but then he's like, forget this, I'm going outside, and everyone spreads out on the grass, and he's like throwing, and people are catching, or you know. And to us, to the kids, that was the highlight of his, because when you're kids, all you think about, I want that cookie, and then another thing. Do you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, another thing about the cookie throw. Sometimes there would be times where I felt I didn't get a cookie or he didn't even look at me. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do wrong now? Why isn't Guru Maharaj looking at me? Why didn't he smile at me? Why isn't he giving me cookie? I feel like my life is, because I didn't get the cookie, I'm like depressed now. Or I didn't get, I don't know what is, he didn't get his glance, his look, his sweet smile, like he would always give. So I would keep that inside, but always feel like I'm not good enough. Something about me, I'm not pleasing my Guru Maharaj. Why? Why do I always feel I'm not pleasing him? And then one year in Mayapur, I got a chance to speak to him, and he said, how are you? And I said, well, I've written you letters, and you didn't give me cookie, or you didn't look at me last time, and I feel like I'm not pleasing you. And he was like, what? Oh my gosh, I come to see you and you're Taliban, don't you know? And you're very, very dear to me. So I know that if we're sincere, we really are doing a part like a disciple, that Guru Maharaj does love us, all of us. We shouldn't think that he doesn't. Another pastime in Taliban, at the end, and the children were so attached to Guru Maharaj. And we called him a Acharyapat because back in the day, that was his name, one who sits at the feet of the Acharya. And that's Prabhupada, right? So, of course, those names were done away with because we don't want to make them seem as great as Prabhupada. That was the notion why we stopped. But when he would visit, we didn't want him to leave. We would sing the Shringadev prayers, and the children would run up to the road. We are living in the country, not like a highway, but the country road, and then a country gravel driveway. And then the children would lay their bodies in the road or else stand up and make a chain with their hands, like you cannot go. And this is the mood every time he came to visit. The children, 5 minutes before he left, they're already there, stopping the car from leaving. So, yeah, so that was very sweet.
Did he stop anytime, or he used to mend his way out and leave?
I mean, he would always give them the blessings, pat the head. Then he would have the stick. So many years he had the stick, touch the head, talk to them a little bit. And then I don't know, because it was a kid thing and I wasn't there. So I don't know what happened, but I'm assuming they got special treatment there.
Jay, thank you. That was sweet.
Anyone else? I saw Viroja Vera Backstrom a while ago. I'm not sure if she's there.
See anyone else? Okay.
I do want to say one other pastime, but I don't know if we have time.
You can say one pastime and
okay.
Conclude
after, when Guru Maharaj had the stroke, he was there in a coma, I don't know, for like a month, right? And we were very worried. We were doing the Shringa prayers, we were doing the Shringa Kavacha, we were doing so many prayers and praying and chanting extra rounds, so many things. And then all of a sudden Guru Maharaj got better. So when he got okay enough to come out, and after he healed, then he gave his first class out in Mayapur. I was there. When you come out the side door of the Jari area, the side door by Tulsi, by the Tulsi plants in the Mayapur, and the back side entrance by the kitchen. So he gave a class in that field. That's a little park, a small park. Everyone sat in the park. Guru Maharaj came on stage, and he spoke, and he had the translator speaking. And he said, and this was like a very personal and very confidential, but he still said it in public, so I will repeat it. But he said during the time of a coma, Krishna was asking him, what do you want to do? And Guru says, I have to go back. I have not completed all of Prabhupada's instructions to fulfill. And Guru, we all know, we're like, what? Guru Maharaj has had 60,000 disciples. He's, he's developed Nine Pradhan. We all know so many instructions he's had. And Guru Maharaj is so humble that he thinks he has done like a pinprick of, barely scratched the surface of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg, he's thinking he's only done that much. So he continues to be unstoppable because he told Krishna, no, I cannot go back. I have not fulfilled the instructions of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and I want to please Srila Prabhupada, and I want to fulfill this. Of course, he also was asking that we all help him. We all need to latch on to one service that Guru Maharaj has and try to become an assistant in his service to Srila Prabhupada. So I wanted to mention that because over the last, say, 10 years, he's been speaking a lot about that, about how we don't know when he's going to go, but we need to get in the mood. If it's book distribution that we need to help him with, we must do that. If it's developing Mayapur, we must help him with that. Whatever is the thing that we feel we can assist with the most in helping Guru Maharaj fulfill his instructions to Srila Prabhupada, that's what we should try to do.
Jay, thank you. That was the icing on the cake, I think. Very nice. I think that is it. I would like to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I know very short notice to you, but you still took it up, Mother. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry I couldn't be more like, I felt like I was breaking it up, like, oh, what did I write here? I felt like I was breaking it up. I wanted it to be more flowing, but
no, that was very nice. But we would always love to hear once again from you once you're back to the States and see that Ananda Krishna Mataji, who she writes Jai, thank you, Kaivalya. She writes that. I hope to hear.
Oh yeah. Because of her, I'm got on here. She is the one.
Yeah, she was supposed to speak today, and then she says no. It's she wanted to.
Well, Latika Bhakti, the one that spoke with me.
Yes, we should hear from Latika.
I so want to hear. She was in the early days traveling with Guru Maharaj in the same van. There were like 8 people in safari, and like 4 of them were Matajis, something like that. So I really don't know how they did it, but they got some serious mercy. And she has many stories to tell. She's lived here since the 90s, the early 90s. So, I mean, I really would like to.
We should request her. Maybe you should put a recommendation from your side. Then
well, I am recommending her now. And because she has many pastimes, maybe more than me. So.
Sure. Radhika Mataji, if you're hearing us, then we will look forward to hearing from you one of the Thursdays. And if 2 Thursdays, nothing like it.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for having me. Mataji. I appreciate this, and I hope that I could, that I could say something that helped people.
Thank you so much. I see that.
Thank you so much. It was great. Love it.
See that. Hare Krishna Mataji.
We'll
wait to hear from you.
Latika, you are next. Latika,
What about you, Ananda Krishna?
Ananda Krishna.
I'm still recovering.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Ananda Krishna.
We should chant one time for Ananda Krishna Mataji, so that she gets well soon and she comes over and inspires all of us. Let us chant
Okay.
one time for her, please. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Oh,
Thank you,
so much.
Anand Krishna Mataji. Get
I
well
love
soon.
My
And I
dear
hope
God.
you all go and see Guru Maharaj soon. So you're traveling back and you'll be seeing him soon. I hope, Kaivalya Mataji.
Oh, no, I think I might be staying longer in Mayapur. I might change my ticket. I might stay for Vyasa Puja.
Oh, wow. So you'll meet him there. Okay. That's nice. Okay. And on behalf of J2+ Seshadripuram, I thank you again. All glories to you. All glories to Guru Maharaj. All glories to Prabhupada. So we'll meet again next Thursday, devotees. And if possible, hear from Latika Mataji, if she agrees.
Latika.
So I'll take her number and reach out to her. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maji. With your permission, may I end this session?
Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
Gauranga.
Gauranga. Thank you.
Gauranga.
Here you go.